Hey guys, Kevin the Patriot Punk here. So, recently one of my favorite bands, a band I've seen live dozens of times, NOFX, got themselves into hot water in Las Vegas. They were playing at a festival and they made a joke that they were glad it was country music fans who were shot and not punk rock fans back in the massacre several months back. Now, this joke might be distasteful, but this is punk rock. So I cannot believe the reaction NOFX is getting from other punk rockers. You know, no art form exudes libertarian virtues more than punk rock. And it breaks my heart that so many punk rock groups have gone full libtard, including NOFX. And now when they face backlash, they act like they don't know why this is happening to them. I want you guys to watch this clip. It is of Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys and that guy Keith from Black Flag and whatever band he plays for now. They're talking about this incident. I want you guys to see what has happened to punk rock nowadays. It's just horrible. Just like everything else social justice warriors start to monopolize. It just kills everything. Check it out.
All right, so what do you think about NOFX not being here? Keith, you want to go? Come on, bring it.
Jack, you've got an opinion on this too, I'm sure.
I've got an opinion.
Get back on stage, Oprah.
No, I'm asking questions.
All right, well, I want to hear what you think too, but let's start with Keith.
I think that was an attack against my sexuality, and I'm actually I feel offended on that, Jello.
All right, well, he's mocking PC culture. I like where this is going.
All right, come on, Keith, what do you got for that?
I am actually upset that NOFX is not here. Granted that Mike made a comment that was in really bad taste. Hold on now, hold on, because I'm not going to argue with you. He said something that bummed a few people out. Personally, I was not bummed out. Being 63 years old, I've heard a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff. My skin is a little bit tougher than just some of these pussies that are running around. These politically correct, whatever you want to call them.
You could call them social justice warriors, you could call them PC police, you can call them Democrats. Just don't call them late for a protest. You know, I personally call them future base jumpers from helicopters without parachutes, but I might be a little extreme there. Guys, I like this guy. I think he's right on the money. You know, like most people, he has gotten older and wiser. Most people become more thick-skinned. They become more conservative as they get older. That comes with wisdom and age. You never hear about like 90-year-old grandmas who are like, yeah, I used to be really conservative, but now I'm a feminist and I'm going to go check out a child drag queen pageant next week. That doesn't happen. You know, most people are like, yeah, I used to be a feminist when I was in college, but then I grew up.
Like, get fucking real. We live in a real fucking world. And the thing is that the guy that killed all of those people, it could have just as easily been punk rock bowling. It could have just as easily been a Kanye West concert. It could have just as easily been Katy Perry.
He scouted at least two other festivals.
It just happened to be a country western, something that I wouldn't attend, but
I mean, in some cases, I think some people are getting overly hypersensitive, and part of the reason, there's two reasons they are.
All right, I agree with Jello. People are far too sensitive. I wonder what his two reasons for this are.
Number one, they're tired of having the verbal shit kicked out of them by bigots, and they're just sick of it. Number one.
Wait, bigots? What bigots? Who are these bigots the left are always talking about? Let me translate what he just said into English. He said people are tired of getting the verbal shit kicked out of them by bigots. What that means is that leftists are tired of losing policy debates to right-wingers. A bigot's just somebody who defeats a leftist in a debate on policy. That's all that means now.
And I get that, and would like people to be a little more humane to each other. And the other thing is, every new generation of people finds different kinds of ways. When they decide they want to get radical, they look for ways to do it that other people haven't before. And that's where you're getting some of this stuff about, we want no more microaggressions, and we have to know if anything taught in this college class might actually traumatize me and stuff. And enough of that, you can't teach anybody anything anymore.
Okay, well, he's making sense there. Maybe he's not so bad after all.
This is true, and nobody has pulled more of that shit over the years than fundamentalist Christians who say it's religious discrimination if we don't let them force their religion on everybody else.
Okay, so here Jello is projecting the faults of the left onto the right, blaming PC culture on conservatives. We know leftists always project. It's the #1 rule of the left. But there is a little speck, a little granula of truth to what Jello's saying here. And that is, back in the 1990s, a so-called Christian group tried to censor Jello's band, the Dead Kennedys, and have their album sales blocked. What he's not saying, and he's never going to admit this, is that that was a left-wing group. It was run by Tipper Gore, who's married to Al Gore, the king of the libtards. And you know what? Whether it was people like Hillary Clinton or people on the right like John McCain, the 1990s neocons and the Democrats of the 90s, they were never Christian. They were never conservative. They didn't believe in small government. They were all just in it for power. They wanted to be able to censor people. They wanted to be able to use the state as a weapon to control people. And they didn't care what banner they used to do it under. That's why you have pictures of Hillary Clinton waving a rebel flag around, while now she acts like the rebel flag's the worst thing that ever existed. Here's the thing. You cannot be a statist and be a punk rocker. All right? They don't go together. They don't work. Punk is all about individual liberty. So the only political belief a punk rocker should have is that of right-wing libertarianism. Live and let live. And if you mess with me, I'll mess you up. That is punk rock. Everything else, it's establishmentarian.
That's right. Sorry, Hobby Lobby, you're better off on fire, thank you very much. What an easy chain to boycott. There was nothing there for me to buy. Why would I ever want to go there? But back to NOFX, it wasn't just Mike who said it. I think it started with Melvin and kind of made the rounds. And on the surface, it's kind of like, yeah, sick humor. That is part of punk rock, and that's almost something like something I would say. Yeah! But I wouldn't have quite said that in that circumstance, because I would have been a little more aware, in part because I am a fan of some country music myself. And I'm amazed, blown away at how many country music fans and even country music musicians are into my shit, too. And what that means is, if I said, oh, too bad it wasn't country music fans who got murdered by some psycho, well, how could I look Reverend Horton Heat in the eye again after that? How could I look Junior Brown, or Hank 3, or Steve Earle, or Jesse Dayton, or the Super Suckers in the eye again after that? I mean, I think a little more like that now, and so there's many other comments that have gotten me in trouble over the years, especially with girlfriends and stuff at times, or parents, but I do think I do think Mike and company could have diffused this a lot quicker if they had apologized the next day instead of spending 2 or 3 days being defensive about it before they realized that it's one of those times, and I've had to learn this lesson really hard myself, and I don't like it, but it's a lesson that we all go through, is there are times when it's better to apologize even when you know you're totally fucking right.
Jesus Christ. All right, that might be true if you were the head of a Fortune 500 company or even a manager at Walmart. But if you're a punk rock superstar, you don't apologize. You own that stuff. Jesus Christ, these people have created this social justice monster, and now they want to feed it. They should just bite the bullet and push the Overton window back to the right, even if that means you lose a few contracts. Say, hey, yes, we're offensive. People need to be offended sometimes. This is the whole reason punk rock became a genre in the first place, and now the very people who created it have destroyed it. It makes me sick. You know, what we need is some hardcore right-wing punk bands to start farming their own labels. Just like everything else, we need our own breakaway economy. Okay, we need to get away from this monopoly the West Coast has on entertainment. We need to get away from the monopoly the Northeast, specifically New York, has on banking and retail. And we need to create our own companies. We need to create right-wing centric music labels and television networks. Like what Dapperton did with his YouTube network, with Liberty Network. That was a great project to start something like that, where you had a bunch of right-wing creators all under one banner. We need our own right-wing BuzzFeed, our own right-wing Vice News, and we need to compete. We need to have some collectivization. I know that's a bad word, but when it comes to this kind of thing, to fight the structure of power and the monopolies the left have built, we have to come together and unite on the right to fight back. And I think that, you know, if you have some money, if you're a right-winger like me who has a successful business or something, go out there and maybe start a project. Fund some punk artist, you know, who's in their mom's garage, and help them create an album. See if you can get it distributed. I personally am going to try to work on a right-wing comic book soon. You know, so there's all kinds of different ways we can fight back. And we have to push back against this. But anyway, I thought I'd show you guys this. It's something from the punk rock world, not really from the political world, but, you know, it is at that point where the two sort of have met. And so, yeah, maybe you found it interesting. I'm out. Like and subscribe.